What's up guys, it's your favorite QB coach, and give me 6 months of your time and I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we have another climb before and after video for you guys, and this is going to be a very classic one to the channel. We got a player who's struggling with taking the club head too far inside as well as the hands. Hands start to loop out towards the head, club shaft gets crossed to the top, then hands continue out towards the golf ball while the club shaft flattens, and then ultimately underneath the plane, left arm too far left, all sorts of trouble. So if this sounds like something in your own golf game, well, this is the perfect video for you. Let's go ahead and jump in. But before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Kiwi Golf Japan. If you're too busy or you just can't make it out to our locations for lessons, Kiwi Golf Japan is the membership site for you. With 200 plus videos of golf instruction, we have everything on the site you could possibly want. So go ahead and check out that link down below, and now let's hop into this analysis. So like I said in the intro, this is probably a golf swing that you guys all know and love because it's something that you probably do as well. And this is probably by far the most common swing that we typically get. So let's go ahead and play the before swing first, then the after swing, and then we're going to come back and talk about what we're going to be discussing in this particular video. So this will be the before swing. All right, and this is going to be the after swing. So as you can see, there's some really massive changes at the top of swing position as well as the transition, but also on the backswing, there's some pretty big changes we did as well. So let's go ahead and start off with position 2. We're going to talk about exactly what we changed and why we changed and go through the basics so you guys can start to understand. All right, so we're going to start off with position 2, and the first thing I want to highlight with the before swing is going to be the hand position at position 2. Now this is something that we talk about a lot in these videos, and it's something that I really want you guys to focus in on when you guys are thinking about changing your position 2, and that's the positioning of the hands. So if we start to find that the hands are positioned behind the toe line at this point, most likely at position 3 you're going to continue to loop them inside, and then for a lot of golfers from that position at position 3, you're going to loop them towards the head, and that's going to ultimately create a hand path arc that moves out towards the golf ball too much, right? Because momentum is moving you in that direction towards transition, so you're probably going to continue to move that way early on the downswing, and you're going to get out of position. So this is why ultimately we can get a pretty large domino effect if we can change the hand path at position 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at the different hand path at position 2 in the after swing. So as you can see here now, if we draw a line from the hand straight down, we can see that it's a little bit outside the toe line, which is my exact preference. I like most of my golfers to err slightly on the outside part. Now, if you're one of those people that get the hands way too far outside, let's say if you get your hands right around here, which would be closer to about halfway between the golf ball and the toe line, well then maybe the feeling that you need to feel is actually more closer to this hand path right here. But the main point is, for a lot of you guys out there, that's typically not the case. We see most of our golfers getting those hands too far inside. So the feeling that you're going to want to feel is probably actually where this white line is right here. You're going to want to feel a lot more outside. So again, that's going to be the feel versus real, how much and when framework. We've already talked about that, so I'm not going to go over it again. But this was the first change we took at position 2. Now, the second thing that we wanted to change was going to be the club head position. So if we take a look at where the club head is situated, it's right around the middle of the foot in the before swing. If we take a look at the after swing, we can see that the club head is situated pretty close to where the hand path is, which is just outside the toe line. So now we're seeing that the club head is pretty much in line with the hand. So we have now aligned the center of mass of the club head and the center of mass of the hands, which is exactly what you want to be doing at position 2. The main point why we want to get those two center of masses aligning at this point is because if we don't have them aligned, or if they're misaligned by quite a bit, then you're going to have to align them later in the swing, which typically means that top of swing position, they're going to be misaligned too much. Again, we want the club head to be misaligned at the top of the swing, right? We want that late opposition, but if you start to do it too much on either side, we're also going to struggle with realigning them at position 6 on the downswing, which is another point where you want the two to be aligned. Now, the last thing that we changed, and this is again a little bit of a domino effect here, we didn't really talk about this with this player, but take a look at the leading edge at position 2 in the before swing versus the leading edge of position 2 in the after swing. As we can see, there's about a 20-degree difference between the face angles here, which ultimately means that the face angle is a lot more square in the after swing than it was before. And this is another common thing we see with people who get those hands moving inside, trying to keep the club head kind of moving in this direction. We tend to see the face angle get really shut. And if you actually were to approach the ball from P6 with the same face angle of 43 degrees closed, well, you're going to probably struggle with big hooks, or you're going to have a massive redirection move to try to open that face. It's going to be really inconsistent, right? So do we want the toe up? No, not necessarily, right? We like the toe slightly down, but if you start to get into this 40-degree range, that's going to be really shut and difficult to manage. All right, the next point from here is going to be the hand path from position 2 to position 3. So to draw this, I'm going to have an angle here, and I'm going to take the hands up to position 3 in the before swing, and let's go take a look at kind of the path that it took. So it's moving right around 19 degrees behind him. So 19 degrees maybe not necessarily is too much behind you, but if you get from a point of P2 when you're too far behind already, and then you move 19 degrees, that's going to be a pretty big issue. And then the net result is we're going to find that the hands are situated behind the shoulders, which means that for most people from this point, they're probably going to loop it back towards the head. Because whenever you start to feel like the hands are moving way too far behind you, you tend to want to move them out towards the golf ball because you feel like you can't hit the golf ball when they're that far behind you, right? So hence, you're going to get that domino effect, but in a negative sense, and it's going to continue to move out towards the ball. We're going to be out of position. If we go take a look at the after now, let's go take a look at the angle that we took up to position 3 now. So as we get up to position 3, we're right around 16 degrees, which again is very similar to the before. However, the starting point was much different, and so ultimately we ended up getting to a point where the hands are aligned with the right pec, which again is our particular preference at this point in the golf swing. So it's really important to note that starting points and end points are incredibly important when you guys are drawing your angles, especially when it comes to hand path angles, because you might look like you're getting the exact angle that you should get, but if you're starting from the wrong point, your endpoint will also be wrong as well, most likely, if you get the correct checkpoint parameters of the angles that we talk about. So in this particular case, the angles were quite similar, but the starting points were different, so the endpoints were different, and now in the after swing, we're obviously much more in the preference that we prefer. All right, now from this particular point from position 3, I'm going to draw some circles on the hands and work it all the way up towards the top. So this is when you're going to see the hands really start to redirect and move back towards the head at the top of the swing. And then in transition, we're going to see that the hands will continue to move out towards the golf ball. So let me just highlight that really quickly. So as you can see, the hands are on a different plane on the downswing than they were on the backswing. Now on top of that as well, we're finding that the club shaft is actually steepening from position 3 to position 4. So let me go highlight that for you really quickly. So we're seeing that the club shaft from this point to this point is already starting to steepen, and then it's continuing that path all the way till it gets towards the golf ball. Again, this is a very common sign of a player who got the club head or takeaway section too far inside, right? We tend to see those center of masses wanting to realign, and then ultimately it's difficult to stop that motion, so you end up being too much on the cross the line position. All right, so if we go take a look at the after swing and do the same thing, as we see the hands move up towards the top of the head, we're going to see a much different hand path as we get towards the top. Are the hands moving slightly towards the hedge in this section? Ever so slightly, I would argue yes, which is completely fine. But as you can see, the amount that it's moving towards the head, or kind of the overall shape, is a lot less curved, and it's a little bit of a straighter line. And then as we go into transition, now we're finding the hands are dropping below this line, which is more so the preference I prefer to see. And then also to complement this, because at position 2 we got the club head in a better spot, P2.5 the club shaft was not too flat, now we're finding that as the club shaft works up towards the top of the swing, it's pretty much moving parallel to where it was at position 3, right? So we're not really seeing a steepening move, and then if anything, we're seeing a slight bit of a flattening move, which again is going to be more so my particular preference, right? Ideally, we like to see that moving up parallel from P3 the club shaft because we don't like to see a lot of twisting in that section. We want to see a lot of the twisting done from P2 to P3 primarily, and that way you can have a lot easier transition because you don't have to rely on a massive flattening move to get into the correct position at P5. All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Before you guys click off, let me give you guys some wrap-up points. So the first and most important point of this whole video is we got to leverage the domino effect, and the best way to leverage that is to change the hand path and club shaft movements earlier on in the backswing. So in this particular client's case, we changed the position to hand positioning and club shaft positioning, which ultimately actually also changed the face angle and then also allowed us to change the overall arc of the hand path on the backswing. Now, because we changed the overall arc of the hand path on the backswing, a lot of the downswing stuff we were trying to do started to kind of fix itself magically, right? Which means that the lead arm was not so far left, the center of mass of the club head started to align with the hand center of mass at the right time at P6, and then from there we got a little bit less rate of closure movement, right? So not so big of a flip, and then the shoulders were able to turn a lot more level. So if you guys are struggling with this and you guys want a professional's help to actually make this happen for you a lot quicker, well, check out our Kiwi Coach 6-month program. We're running out of spots, so make sure to sign up right away because I think we only have about 5 to 10 more spots left before we have to kind of close down, and then from there we'll probably just take people's reservations, but we can't offer you guys lessons until either someone finishes their 6-month program or if we have a cancellation. So check out that link down below because again, those are going really quickly. While you guys are on the website, make sure to check out the membership site as well. Sign up, it helps support this YouTube channel. And then other than that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video.